Yo, what's up, y'all? Welcome to a live edition of Uncivilized After Dark. I got my man Pat. We live from Sky Condos in Las Vegas. Nostalgia is live from Astro Studios in Houston. You there, my guy?
What's up?
What's up? Hey, so it's a lot of unfortunate things going on, and we wanted to jump in live and talk about it right away. Daunte Wright and Adam Toledo. Did I say the names right, Caleb? Nostalgia, sorry.
You got them right. Got them right.
My bad. All right. Daunte Wright, Adam Toledo. My man Pat, PT Industries, is here to talk about it. We're going to let my man Nostalgia start it off. Let's start with Daunte Wright first. We wanted to go live because before we went on, the statement Pat said that made me say, stop, let's do a show so we could talk about this, is that he said he understood the officer confusing her gun for a taser, which makes no fucking sense in my realm in the world because tasers are yellow. So Pat gonna have to make that make sense, and then I want to get nostalgic thoughts as well. But and when we talk, make sure we on the mic like this, Pat, because this one of the mics can't go on the side. So
how was Pat the first white guy on this show before Drew? That's hilarious.
Before Drew? What do you mean, man? You're lighter than me. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but he's not a white guy, bro. Nostalgia's not a white guy. He's a black guy. It's different. So you got a point. The reason, Caleb, is because Pat likes to talk a lot like me and get shit faced like he is right now, like me.
What are you talking about?
And Drew is in this lab and he like to just think and work. Pat's done a couple of shows. Remember when we did the first show at Angel House Studios? It was me and you and Stu.
Yep.
It's 49 minutes. It's actually on the IGB Network page. One of the first things we uploaded. Check that out, y'all. And please like and subscribe and share the IGB Network YouTube page where you can find all of the Uncivilized episodes and future content coming from us. Now, Pat, go ahead and set up your blasphemous argument of understanding this woman. And look her name up, Nostalgia, so we can say her name correctly too. She's been charged with reckless manslaughter.
Potter, I think Kelly Potter. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we can't be certain. Go ahead and pull it up. Go ahead, brother.
It was not only Kelly Potter, but it was also the police chief that resigned. So I mean, they went deep on this. So my argument is this. I've done police simulators. I've got an older brother that's in that business, and I've worked with a lot of gun ranges and simulators and things like that. And I will tell you, when you pump about 1,000 pounds of adrenaline into somebody and you hand a gun to them and you put them in a situation, shit goes awry. It does.
No excuse.
There's no excuse. But at the
even
same
though
time,
this isn't comparable to being under the pressure of pulling out a gun and confusing it with a taser, there is a lot of pressure of taking and passing a polygraph test. Right?
Well, here's the thing.
And I passed it, and I shouldn't have. So my point is, that's bullshit.
I will tell you this. Do I think that Kelly Potter woke up that morning and said...
Kimberly Potter, by the way. Kimberly Potter.
Thanks, Nostalgia.
Thanks, Nostalgia. Do I think that she woke up that morning and said, if I have a confrontation with a black man, I'm going to pull out my gun and shoot him? I don't think that happened.
No, that probably didn't happen. But what did happen is, if you're a
black man...
26-year veteran, because if I'm not mistaken, she's definitely a 20-plus year veteran.
She was.
Right?
26,
so
correct.
I think what happened is that adrenaline can work against you. So let me explain. So we a couple of weeks into the George Floyd trial, and she's fresh on work, probably on her second day. And I don't mean to sound sexist and all that stuff, but some stereotypes just actually fit. So she probably came to work on the second day of her period and having a bad night from arguing with her man last night or girlfriend, depending. It's a new world.
Yep. Just
a bad fucking day. Probably had an argument that morning about what side she's on with the George Floyd trial with her black coworker. And then she took that energy to that stop and was so gassed because, like that sign said on that meme, Shout out to my man Meza Musa for posting it. The meme said, nobody told your ass to become a motherfucking police officer if you wasn't gonna know how to accept the training or something like that. So there's no excuse. Do you misstep on the hustle that you do in your job? No. You make sure, like, if I had a crack habit, I would never let that crack habit get in the way of nothing that I was doing. So on that morning, whatever she was going through, she let it get in the way of her usual judgment, fair to say. And I just feel like, since the trial is so fresh, why would any officer, especially from Minneapolis, especially, that's why the chief resigned so fast, bro, because the George Floyd chief didn't resign right away, and then that fucking police station got burnt to the ground.
Well, I think the whole teaming up with the George Floyd defense is pandering at this point.
The only reason why I'm teaming is because you're saying, you gotta look at the two.
But then again, the reality of the situation is, like, the George Floyd situation is so present and
it's fresh.
It's so fresh.
I can see if you were saying they was pandering reparations or asking for 40 acres in the mule.
George's
400 years of slavery keep coming up.
I'm not saying that George is pandering or Flora's family. Flora's family and George Flora's family deserves everything they get.
And you're finna say that Daunte's family doesn't? Why?
His aunt gets on, he gets with their family and says, we got mistreated. Okay, let me ask you this. You know, we know the other guy in the other half of this broadcast is your son.
We didn't know that, what you just told them, so that was just fucking with you. Yeah, so most people know that.
Okay, most people know that.
Yeah.
Okay, are you telling your son during a traffic stop, while you have weapons charges against you, which your son doesn't? I've known your son since birth. I've known him since he's a baby. Mm-hmm. For everybody out there in the world, I've known this child his whole life. Mm-hmm. He's a good kid. He's a great kid. He's on this broadcast with us expressing his opinions. So you can tell he's a strong man.
Right.
And taught very well by his father.
Thank you.
So are you telling him during a traffic stop where you've got weapons charges?
I got this, Nostalgia. No.
Weapons charges that when you're being cuffed up, which is something that you can deal with an hour later, after you get cuffed up and taken down, that you're supposed to pull away, jump in, and try to drive away.
I'll do you one better. I'll answer your question like this. Shout out to my man Andrew. That's Pat's nephew, since he let everybody know. And a lot of people know that Nostalgia is my son. Shout out to my man Pat and his nephew Andrew. If Andrew had gun charges, ladies and gentlemen, and Andrew decided to get back in his car with his Opie Cunningham looking ass face and pulled off, that lady would have had the sense of knowledge to know not to pull out a fucking yellow taser. Tasers are not the same color as the guns. They're yellow. They're the color of piss.
But when you say
they're
that,
the color
you
of
take
piss.
all responsibility.
No, you don't.
From Andrew, my white ass.
I'm not taking
nephew.
because Andrew gonna still get pulled over 5 minutes from then, taking the Burger King, and then taken to jail. But Daunte got whacked.
Is that the right way to deal with the stop when you have a warrant? Whether you're white, brown,
you asking
green,
a question.
yellow.
Here's a question. You said, should he have? Would I've told my son not to get in that car and drive off?
Would you have? Would you have told him that?
Yes. No. Here's what I would. Here's a better answer to the question.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I got to sit and tell my son what to do and be prepared because the police might kill him.
That's
so
right.
You don't have to have that conversation with Andrew.
Exactly right.
So that's the difference. That man Daunte was already scared off top. In Minneapolis, I would want to get in my fucking car and leave too.
True.
He wasn't a murder suspect. He wasn't a rapist.
But he had weapons charges. So
weapons charges. But he's not a murder suspect. And he did get out the car with his hands up at one point, right?
That's just a warrant.
Correct. Did he, question or not, because I try to stay away from this stuff because it get me too fucking irritated. Did that man raise his hands and get out the car like this at first? With his hands up?
He did.
Okay, so I don't care what, because NBA YoungBoy got back in the car, but you know why they didn't shoot NBA YoungBoy? Because he's fucking NBA YoungBoy.
But let me ask you,
if he was Kentrell,
so he started with his hands out of the car.
Pat, did you know that NBA YoungBoy got pulled over in LA by the feds?
No.
He got pulled over by the feds, and NBA YoungBoy, ladies and gentlemen, is the most niggery ass nigga on the planet right now. When you look a picture up of him, he look like a nigga. Right? Not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just telling the truth. But he's a rich nigga. And them feds knew that. And the LAPD knew that. So when he was in his Lamborghini truck, he was in the Lamborghini truck, Pat. Oh, nice. So when he was in the Lamborghini truck and he dropped the key outside the window and pulled off, they didn't start shooting because they didn't fear him, because they told themselves that's a millionaire black man, so he doesn't pose a threat.
So what do you think?
Daunte and her ignorant ass mind, because she got fresh off of fuck fresh off the George Floyd. They fear us, period, Pat. That's what we trying to get you to understand. When police pull us over, they pull us over already afraid of us. They think they finna pull over Casanova, big gorilla.
Even
come on and pull me over, like white person, so I'm finna pull off your neck and rip off your shit and rape you right in front of your partner. And nobody does that. But they pull us over with that mentality.
Right.
And that's where the adrenaline comes from. That makes her pull out a piss-colored taser. Fucking yellow, man. Go ahead.
Even besides, you know, like obviously pulling out a gun, you know, the obvious usual fear of, you know, a black man police officer, you know, you pull out a gun because you feel threatened or whatever. Her defense is, and we're gonna see it coming because he's already been charged with second-degree murder. First of all,
by the way,
if y'all can't hear my son on Facebook,
by the way, you know,
we record this.
I believe that she should have been charged with first-degree manslaughter.
See, and that's why I do love Pat. He'll sit up. I'm gonna make something clear to y'all. First of all, he's not a Republican. This man watched Fox just so we can yell at them. But he is white, and we in the black community do believe that all white people have a superiority complex. They don't mean to have it. Lebanese, Turkish. Yeah, it's all white. It's all right.
No, we'll say we're brown.
So no, y'all say it. But the whites view y'all as the whites. The Latinos don't view Lebanese as.
True that.
Hey, Holmes.
I'll give you that.
Hey, Holmes, you Lebanese, Holmes? You can be from the Mexican mafia, Holmes. Hell fucking no.
We'll bomb their fucking house. They don't get it. They just don't get it.
Right.
The Italians pretend to be Spanish, but they're still white.
That's it.
But, you know, we're not gonna have that conversation today.
And here's something else, nostalgia, is other races of white people that think Italians are closer to the niggas. How about that?
Well, it depends on which part of Italy. Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So, you know, it's all racist. It's all racist.
It is. And it's
darker Mexicans are oppressed against from lighter Mexicans.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh my God.
Isn't that crazy?
Light-skinned people are oppressed against black-skinned, but then light-skinned people oppress black-skinned people.
Wait.
It's popping everywhere.
You mean to tell me the whites have colorism amongst the other whites?
What? You didn't know that the whites had colorism?
It's that deep.
Why you think Kim Kardashian and them stunt like they do? Because they...
Well, okay, never mind.
They Armenian.
You want to talk about you know, racism? Look at the Asian community. You want to talk about people that, you know, within their own community.
They've been getting the short end of the stick as far as... Yeah. But here's the news flash. See this little thing? This my little violin playing for them? They got to catch up with us. I'm sorry. Ain't no Asian kid get whacked on TV night after night. So an old Asian dude getting his ass beat, catch up with us.
No, I'm not being insensitive. I'm not saying about
Look at the attention.
But I'm saying about
that the two older elderly Asians get versus the acceptance of black men being killed by police.
I'm not even talking about that Asian hate thing. What I'm talking about is you want to talk about races that really hate upon their own races. You look at Asians, they'll you know,
man,
if you're Chinese,
talking about, matter of fact,
you hate
he's
Japanese,
right about that because the Asians actually hate black people
Filipinos,
more than white people, but they hide it very good.
So when you talk
Asians
about
will tell their
racism,
daughters, don't you bring no nigga home, don't you bring
I'm
no...
not too sure
Japanese versus
about that thing more so
Chinese.
The Asians, they see what is portrayed in media.
It's not.
But they see black people. They only see Black
the money.
Americans.
Yes, they were taught. We've seen things. They were told like Asian families would encourage their daughters to marry white men. So and we ain't nobody encouraging nobody to marry no nigga.
I'll take
well,
them.
probably Armenians because of the success of Kim Kardashian and Kanye West, and they seem to go out the rich black brothers. But ain't no races really.
Kanye, he's like saying.
But back to Daunte Wright. What I was saying was,
go ahead.
We already know the defense for this one is going to be, she did the proper protocol to say, like how she yelled in the video. She said, "Taser, taser, taser."
Then she said, "Oh shit, I shot him."
Everything like on paper to look like this was a mistake.
You see, he's helping support you, Pat.
Still,
Caleb, I you know what?
That's my devil's
advocate
side
I support
of it,
that defense.
Still,
but at the same
only
point,
issue with all of it is you pulled out a gun and
not a gun. A
piss-colored taser.
Not a yellow piss-colored taser.
You know, where we depart, Caleb, on this is...
How can you confuse a gun with...
Where your dad's saying right now.
What's the name of that mustard?
That's where we depart in the argument.
How can you mistake your gun for a Grey Poupon?
That's what I'm saying. That's where we depart.
Would you happen to have a Grey Poupon?
Because I believe
how can you confuse a black gun with a Grey Poupon?
I don't know.
That's where we disagree because I've been through police simulators.
Like
I've
a
gone
taser has
through
wait, hold on, Nostalgia, because you wanted to break down the simulator thing, so I want to hear this.
I've been through simulators, and I will tell you, when you go into a simulator and you're armed with a gun and you're actually shooting at this screen, you are amazed at the amount of adrenaline and what goes on. I mean, you almost black out. That's how crazy these simulators are when you go through them.
So now let's go back to my polygraph test. Nostalgia. Let me go ahead.
But your polygraph, you were ready for. This was
I was not.
Well, you knew that you had to.
You know what's funny? Let me tell you the story.
You had to show up.
Hold on, let me tell you the story real quick. So it was me and this other guy sitting in a room. We're getting ready to take our polygraph test.
You knew you were gonna have to take a polygraph, right?
I did. But let me finish.
So you were prepped for this.
So the dude next to me, he chilling. Like this. He just chilling. He didn't break a sweat. He didn't show no signs of nervousness.
Yep.
Nothing.
Yep.
And he failed that test. I was in there sweating. Now, mind you, I knew it was a camera watching both of us. So I'm in there. I thought about doing the needle. Yep. They say you can put a needle in your shoe and step on it, and they even showed it in Ocean 11. I decided not to do that. I'm not gonna say what I did because I'm not gonna say what I did. But let's just say I passed. Now, once I passed, I was curious because I was like, I felt my heartbeat beating in my ass. So how the fuck I passed that? But my mental did go with something. I'll just say that. So when I walked outside, the dude who was sitting there wasn't nervous. High school, college graduate. He was crying. Damn, what happened, man? I failed it. I thought I was ready. I was like, wow, that's crazy because he didn't break a sweat. My point is, you never know what's gonna make a person react under circumstances. Correct. You say that the simulator made you black out. This was a 26-year veteran, though, Pat. This wasn't somebody that was a rookie.
Who yelled taser, taser,
as she watched her holding the black guns. Because she was so fixated on trying to do her job. I'm going to support you.
Yep.
She was so fixated on trying to do her job, but at the same time thinking about the extreme racism that swims through her heart, thinking about that George Floyd trial and feeling like her bestie Chauvin is being railroaded, that she picked out the wrong weapon. But that's no fucking excuse.
Well, I will agree with that.
The life has been taken.
I agree with that.
And it keeps 100%. Happening.
I agree with that
so
100%.
It should be, each incident should be when the crack ever was at its peak. They used each drug dealer boss, whoever had the most money, and got the harshest example. This keeps happening. the example doesn't get harsher. It's supposed to be a statement made when this type of shit happens. We gonna talk about Winter Soldier, not tonight, but on that episode, John Walker, that's his name, right? They do everything but put him in jail. They don't court-martial him. They don't do shit. You just killed somebody. It was almost addressing what we're talking about. He killed a minority. All the cameras was on him. Filmed it. But since he was Captain America, all he got was a slap on the fucking wrist, bro. And that's what happens. So it makes the argument of she was, or I can understand, or duress, or stress, bullshit.
Well, no, it doesn't, though. But think about what you just said. It doesn't make it bullshit. What it makes it is unexcusable.
Bullshit.
Well, it's not bullshit. What it means is that you can understand that there was...
If anybody is watching this, please tell me what's another definition for inexcusable, because last time I checked, it was bullshit.
There was a mistake made. And I don't think that anybody that saw that, and even her, or even the officers that she looked at when she crossed the street, said, holy shit, I just shot him. There was a mistake made. Now, my point is, it was a mistake. I don't think she went out to make a racial killing that day. I don't think she went out to kill a black man that day. I think she woke up going to work. I think she put on her uniform thinking she was going to do a good job. I think she went out. I think she got into a situation of duress, which nobody knows how the fuck anybody's going to act, whether they're a 26-year veteran or they're a 1-year veteran under duress. I've seen people do crazy shit. Everybody's seen people do crazy shit under duress.
I'm asking you 2 questions.
So wait, let me finish. So at this point, she's fucked up big. She's fucked up big. So I don't think there's any question that she's fucked up big. Do I think she did it premeditated? Do I think that there should be, tearing up of the city, trashing all the police force, this and that over this? No. Do I think that his aunt should be on with Flora's family, who actually had somebody in their family that was tortured, in my eyes, tortured and murdered on the streets? Do I think that she has any right to stand up with their family and say, we're with you? No. Not at all.
So I'm going to ask you 2 questions. Because question 1, you said it earlier, but I want to get an official answer.
Sure.
She was charged with reckless manslaughter. You said you think she should be charged with first degree murder, right?
First degree manslaughter. And then the second question. Not murder.
Murder. First degree manslaughter.
That's right.
Okay.
She put herself in a situation. She pulled out the wrong weapon. It's her responsibility.
So you compare this to like a husband, because manslaughter in most cases is like a husband and wife getting into it. He woke up that morning. He didn't intend to wake up that morning going, I don't want to kill my wife.
And they get in a fight.
And he choke her, break her neck. She fall, hit her head, and then it was manslaughter.
Kills her.
Okay. So at the end of the day, my stance is I respect Pat's position on it, because at the end of the day, he agrees that the bitch should get the cleaners.
Oh, all day long.
I'm cool with it. Even though I disagree and she should get...
But if you're given a weapon...
second-degree murder...
If you're given 2 weapons or 3 weapons...
My thing is, though... Honestly,
let him have the floor, because he... Go ahead.
My thing is... Like, even without the racial undertones and all this... Bitch still made a mistake. You pulled out a goddamn gun instead of a taser. You killed a man. So regardless, you're going to jail. Like regardless, I don't care what happens if you're racist or not. If it could happen to anybody.
See, we all on the same page on that.
We all on the same page. So even without, but the reason this is so prominent, because I don't think it was an act of racism. Like it might have been in my true intention. I'm just saying. But the reason this is prominent is because of the specific time period we in, is the city it was in, and and what's going on.
That's what makes it suck, Pat. And I think you can at least agree with that, man. That. Come on, man. The fact that it happened in the same place,
exactly,
horrible police city.
Exactly.
That's all, man.
That's terrible, and that's why the chief resigned.
Bad timing, and that's all. But with even without the racial undertones, just the timing period, it brings up this part of the conversation.
Right.
You know, the timing, when you bring up the timing comment, it's absolutely valid. It absolutely is valid. And I call that snake bit. You get into these situations where shit happens over and over and over again in the same city or the same this, and their snake bit means that they just can't get away from it. At the same time, we can't ignore violence overall towards public citizens, towards police officers, towards anybody. We need to stop this shit. It's not okay to act this way. And we need to start a public announcement. It's not okay to act this way. We've really started to embrace people acting like fucking idiots.
I blame Donald Trump for that.
Let me ask you this.
Donald Trump opened up this can.
Let me ask you this.
He did.
You live in a
goddamn retard. I don't think there is no retarded person on this planet because you're not supposed to say that word. But Donald Trump is the only, I've been saying this on the show, Pat, so forgive me. There's only one retarded person on the planet. His name is Donald Trump.
I feel you.
Go ahead, brother.
I hate that motherfucker.
Yeah.
So you live in a black community, right?
I confirm or deny that allegation. It could or could not be true.
Okay, so let me ask you.
I mean, let me ask you this. Community. That's leave it at that.
Very gentrifiable community, which means a black community. Mm. So let me ask you this. Do you want less police there? Because you guys, and I've known you a long time. I've known your son. I've known everybody. Do you want less police there? Do you want it to where
the amount of policing is and never has been the issue? It's the people who are policing.
So let me answer my question. Let me answer the question.
Right.
He asked me a question. Let me answer it. May I answer it? So let me answer it my way. The answer is
my part next, but go ahead.
Yeah, because you can answer it next right away. So you actually give us a chance to answer it.
Yep, absolutely.
My answer is because I thought about mentioning saying, "Hey man, I'm not for defunding the police."
Hey, right.
But I am for it if the department is extremely corrupt and disorganized and mismanaged, and not just about black people. I'm talking about sexual harassment. I'm talking about sexism. I'm talking about anything that goes against the agenda that keeps one group ahead of everybody else. So my answer to it is I saw some fly shit in Chicago several years ago. It was several years ago. Two brothers pulled up in an unmarked car. They were police. I didn't know. And they grew up in that neighborhood. And so they played a joke on me because we was in the house smoking weed. And this was in the 90s. Not supposed to be smoking weed, let alone in Chicago. This was really not cool. And they played a joke on me. Dudes knocked on the door. Police come in. And I'm like, so are they really police? Because they had on the shit. I'm thinking they was gangsters because I was in the house full of gangsters. And like, nah, they police. But they grew up in our neighborhood. So I was like, really, y'all got? Because I'm not used to that. When we have people that grew up in the hood and become police, they try their best to look like police. In LA anyway, meaning they're not finna bring. They're not gonna bring their hood mentality or thought process to being a police officer. But in other cities, they are allowed to some degree, or at least then. My point is, I would prefer that we were allowed to police our own.
Well, but here's the thing.
So let me finish because you asked a question. No, let me finish. Let me finish. You asked me a question.
Right.
What does that mean is that there's too many, and not just like, I actually have more beef because the Latino, see, the biggest issue with men, ladies and gentlemen, is insecurity.
Pride, ego. There you go.
That too, but insecurity is number one because they don't talk about the insecurity part because that's more usually laced towards women. But I'm gonna tell you something. Just like they say, men have the same stuff that women go through. So when the insecurity is at the forefront of your thought process And in the case of a police officer, it is almost always in the front of their thought process. Most police officers are a dude who was bullied in school, who couldn't stand up for themselves, or think themselves as a hero that want to come and save Black America or white America or whatever America that they represent. And that's already wrong to come in with that mentality. First of all, they get humbled. They find out they can't even come in with that agenda, that mentality. And then they find out, in some cases, like the sheriffs, it's like joining another gang.
Absolutely.
It's like joining another gang in a fraternity, like the NBA. Shit can't come out. Blue Shield, that shit is there for a reason. Protect our own. This whole George Floyd thing is destroying that. It's allowing cities. New York just passed a law to now cops can get charged. You don't have immunity right away. See, these are the freedoms that the police are losing. That's why they yelling that the defunding of the police is wrong, because no one is really actually trying to defund the police or remove police. That's the thing. Biden has explained this. Donald Trump can twist it and make it sound like they're trying to take the police away from y'all. That's bullshit. They trying to stop the police from mismanaging the funds, overpaying for work that they don't correctly do, for having police out there that are not trained properly. I didn't mention shit about racism in them three things.
No,
plain and simple. Defund the police is really like police don't need military grade gear to police the Bronx.
You know
right.
what? You know
and
what?
to take that money and go start dope houses and kingpin shit that they do.
Reallocated to the New York
all saying the same
system
thing.
That's been underfunded for decades.
Right.
Reallocate
School system, LA, New York schools, all school systems, sir.
But
at all school systems, so like reallocate that money somewhere else. You get billions of dollars funded.
So that's the difference. No one's saying defund. They saying allocate that money and use it smarter and make them police officers work harder. Not feel like they can just cakewalk into a $70,000 a year job and then treat people inhumane.
So, you know, my original question was, in the Black community, you live in the Black community. Do you really believe in? So
I did answer. I said short answer was police are on.
So what I'm hearing,
police are on.
What I'm hearing is no, we don't want to defund the police, but we want to change the rules of engagement.
Yes, because they use them to their advantage.
That's where I think we have the biggest divide.
Yes,
because I believe in that. I believe that the rules of engagement should be changed.
but that goes across the board. Wall Street.
Exactly.
A couple of weeks ago when the GameStop sting, they saw that was helping minorities. So that's why they put the brakes on that.
You don't need to make everything into conspiracy theory.
No, it's not a conspiracy when the status and the information is kind of there for you to see it.
But obviously in that case, you've got some big guys trying to hold smaller guys who or actually medium guys.
Yeah, because I'm not saying
smaller guys.
Just because when I say black, it's like because it's minorities. Period.
Okay, or the small guy. We can say the small guy.
Aren't just white men anymore. It's rich white. Men.
But when you talk in Los Angeles, white people are the minority.
Yeah,
but unfortunately, we can't just talk Los Angeles.
But who own all the property and like the white, the neighborhoods,
right? And who's comfortably? Because we can't comfortably move to Beverly Hills. But guess who I see on 78th and Crenshaw, Pat? White people.
But you can.
We can't. No, because they won't sit and tell us we're not going to let you move in because of your color. They're going to say a bunch of other bullshit. Crazy bad. They're gonna put every other reason other than that reason, but we sit there and Falcon and the Winter Soldier is touching on this right now, Pat.
So if
they walked in the bank and asked for a loan. It didn't matter that he was Falcon who saved the world. They still wasn't finna get that nigga any money.
We walk it all the way back, all the way back to where we originally started this.
Go ahead.
That this wasn't a racial killing. This wasn't a racial killing. And all the racial unrest about this killing is kind of bullshit.
I disagree. It was racial under duress killing. It's still racial.
Okay, if that
because it's a yellow. Tasers are yellow.
So let me
if
ask
the taser
this.
was black, I wouldn't really be giving you this much.
So let's talk about
grief.
Let's talk about black and yellow.
It's yellow.
If that was a black officer.
But there's no ifs.
But this is
we're not allowed for that. When the black officer killed that chick, guess where? Minneapolis. They put that motherfucker in jail, bro.
But let's throw this back.
You just said it, and I just gave you the example. So there's no ifs. Hold on.
Okay.
There's no ifs with this, Pat. Black officer accidentally shot a white woman, and they charged him with murder, and he was convicted.
You know,
they wouldn't have did that to a white officer. Look, you just said George Floyd. Was George Floyd murdered? Undeniably. Do you think that should even be a trial for that shit?
No.
So that's all I'm saying, bro. That's the disadvantage that we have.
And I actually watched the trial, and it was a joke.
So do you understand the disadvantage that there's black? You just said if, and I gave you a fact.
You know,
a black officer killed a white woman, and they hung that nigga, bro.
But I can tell you 5 examples of that on both sides. I think Caleb.
Let me hear the 5 examples.
I think Caleb.
I just want to hear the 5 examples. I'm not trying. I want to challenge you.
But I think this is the reality where like it's
that's right. That's the reality.
Fair enough.
And I think Caleb had the right. I think Caleb had the right thought in this.
Which was.
You know what? Whether it was a black officer, white officer, it happened.
Right.
And the timing.
Timing is bad.
The timing of this and the city that it happened in, the coincidence that it happened in Minneapolis, and that it happened right after George Floyd, and it happened after all this, amplified the incident.
And I just want you to know, Pat, as a friend, and I love you because I know this man is not racist at all. Swear to God, we did this because he said, "I want to argue the point. This is what we do." There's so much respect, but I'm telling you, fam, that is it. It sounds like an excuse.
I know,
because a life was taken. Look, hold on. If George Floyd wasn't killed, would you still be trying to defend this woman?
No, not at all. No, if George Floyd wasn't killed, I would still prosecute this woman.
So that's what I'm saying. There's no excuse. And we didn't even get into the Adam thing because we finna stop. We gotta because we 30 minutes. We can do this all night. I love it.
I didn't say that I defended the officer.
No, I'm not saying you said that.
The officer was absolutely
But you keep
wrong.
saying that the George Floyd thing and everything, and that's playing a role in it.
This wasn't a racial incident. That's what I'm saying. This wasn't a racial incident. These officers pull over people.
The reason why, Pat, the reason why it's racial is because the last 3 white kids that killed multiple black people, like the Van Cuff dude, killed the people in the church. They took them to Burger King. I need you to grasp this.
I know
how they be doing us, bro, versus the difference.
I grasp that.
Okay,
I grasp that for sure. That's fucked up.
So that's the part that make me
they need to beat.
I get the trigger. This all trauma. This year's been full of trauma, but the point is, prosecutor, you killed a kid. Wasn't a taser. You knew that. You trying to make an excuse. That's gonna be your defense. We already know how to try to go work out. If you convicted, if you're not, we go riots.
We go. No, I'm serious. If it doesn't go down where this woman doesn't get convicted, I see where people
repeat cycle, and it's gonna be.
It is absolutely.
Come on, man. And why do we keep getting put in this position, bro?
Nobody should be put.
White people, Lebanese people. You don't get to wake up and see a Lebanese kid getting whacked by the police, bro, and it would fuck you up.
You don't talk about Lebanon and Hezbollah and all that shit.
No, I don't. Because you talking about what happens in Lebanon.
Yeah,
that's not what I'm saying.
We're here.
I'm talking about if you woke up tomorrow and saw that your son was killed by a cop and he didn't do nothing to justify that killing, and nothing that happened, getting in the car and pulling away does not justify getting killed.
Let me tell you a couple stories. First of all, my son at 17 years old in Manhattan Beach, California, and they will tell you Manhattan Beach, probably one of the wealthiest communities in California.
Quietly wealthy.
Was having some fun with his girlfriend in a neighborhood at 17 and got pulled out of the car naked by gunpoint. By gunpoint. They pulled him out, walked him back to the car.
I just want the audience to hear that he said that his kid was naked.
He was naked, sorry.
Go ahead, Pat. Keep telling the story, though.
But had to back up. I had to talk to the sergeant and everything else. They pulled him out.
Y'all heard this? He had to talk to the sergeant. My mother wouldn't have got to talk to the sergeant if the police would have caught me in the car naked. I promise y'all.
So
I promise you.
It happens.
I would have got charged for rape even if the girl was consenting for the shit. That's the difference. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I love.
But go ahead, tell us.
I don't know about that. But so, anyways, he gets pulled out by gunpoint.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that shit happens. You have overzealous police.
Yep.
And I think it's a police engagement issue more than, and Caleb hit it. Caleb hit it right on the head. Why do we need tanks? Why do we need?
Like I said, it's not the people in the neighborhoods. It's the people actually policing. Like it's them. Like they could have been put anywhere, and they'll find somebody just to fuck with, just because it'll happen.
That's what they're primed for.
It's gonna happen.
They're primed for. They drive tanks. They have automatic weapons. They have a clear
target. They're gonna target them. They're gonna target the minority. They know they're not gonna get in trouble. Now it's a different case, but the system still allows for the rules to be bent. But because it's such a global like entity right now where everybody's looking at it, it's gonna be harder to maneuver around it, especially if if this outcome isn't good or what the majority of people want. You're gonna have to deal with the fallout, and then you're gonna have to place the blame on said people who are upset, and then after the fact,
I'm just happy that I'm this guy's father.
He's a smart kid, man. He's a smart kid.
Hey, I want to thank.
It makes a lot of sense.
Hey, I want to thank my man Pat. We went over. Hey, you see this when I say this, when you do something you love, the time go by fast. We're not supposed to go 41 minutes. We didn't even talk about Adam Toledo, but it's all good. I
think that's going to be a boring. I think that's going to be a boring conversation.
No,
I think the kid was set up. I think that it was a bullshit deal.
See, y'all, it's my man Pat. He ain't finna just ride for people just because it ain't about that.
It's about the real.
We did this on purpose, and I want to give him props for even letting us, do this and have a conversation.
About the real. That's bullshit.
He like, hey, we don't have to have a conversation about that. That was foul.
13-year-old kid, man.
13. Period. 13. Like that's the end of the conversation. We don't have to talk about it. Close your eyes and picture it being your son. There it go. It was wrong.
There's nothing in it.
All right, for my man Nostalgia, my man PT, we are about to get up out of here. This was a special Uncivilized After Dark in Las Vegas, live from the Strip. We will see y'all next week. Nostalgia, please tell me you recorded yourself, because if you did, this was gold.
Oh, we got it, man.
Yes, sir.
It's a done deal.
Yes, sir. We will see y'all next week. Actually, we'll see y'all tomorrow. Well, y'all won't see us tomorrow. We're going to record more of this episode. This was on live Facebook. I don't know if anybody commented, liked it, said nothing because the camera is facing me. But if you did, shout out to you. Thank you. And the footage that you're watching will be on the next Uncivilized episode. Peace.